Hello, my name's Sid Williams. When I found Bobby Stevens' book, Unlimited Futures, I was in a dire strait. I was suffering from grief from my wife of 25 years, who I simply adored, passed away. 3 years later, I remarried. Uh, I hadn't worked in 2 years because of a disability with my back. And I found myself in a small apartment, diagnosed with clinically depression, and probably very close to being on the verge of a nervous breakdown. When I got Bobby's book, I promised I would read it, and in reading it, I realized that of all the self-help books that I'd ever grabbed a hold of, this was the first one that actually said how to get from one spot to another. It didn't give you a bunch of platitudes, but it said write down and discover where you are right now, and realize that your thoughts are what got you here. And then in the process, I learned how to create a totally new life. At the time I received the book, as I said, I was in the dire straits of probably a nervous breakdown. Within 3 weeks after doing the program faithfully, doing the energizers at least twice a day and meditating, I was able to get myself calm enough to land a part-time job. As I said, I hadn't worked in about 2 years. With continuing the process of writing out and creating what I wanted out of my life, as instructed with Bobby's book, I also was able to go back to my original profession of operating heavy equipment, which the neurosurgeon told me not to do because it would probably make my back even worse. But by doing the energizers twice daily, I never suffered an incident of back pain. During that time, I operated heavy equipment. I have since retired with a great pension from that profession. And many of the visions and choices that I wrote out during that time have come to fruition, have come into my experience. I'm just absolutely delighted with all of the changes that have taken place. Many people who haven't seen me for a while don't recognize me. That actually happened yesterday with a person I was in a class with for 7 weeks, and then another class I was in there with for 10 days. Another class I was in with this person for 7 days, and they saw me 6 weeks ago, but yesterday they didn't know who I was. It just has that much of a dramatic change to my physical being, which is a direct result of me changing my mental thoughts. And I am just overjoyed at the progress I've made and the changes that have come about in my life since I started reading Unlimited Futures and following the principles in her book. I wrote out the 5 basic choices, and the greatest one to me was to love myself. I had never felt like I was worth loving until I got a hold of her book and began to understand that was one of the core principles of being. Hello, my name's Sid Williams. Unlimited Futures has totally changed my life, changed my outlook on life, changed my view of life, changed my perception of how I see myself um, as sort of a screw up, a bumbling fool, or one who was always depressed or something of that order, who nothing ever happened right or happened good, to a situation now where I just sort of say, wow, I chose this, I didn't focus on it, but when it came to mind, I thought that would be a cool thing to do, and I'm doing it. Opportunity to move to a warmer climate, the opportunity to get in a hobby and do that as a profession full time has been something I've dreamed of for 20 years, and now I'm getting to do it. And different than what I planned, but still, it's amazing to see the things that I can do now that I never dreamed of that would be possible. The PGP course that I took from Bobby and Dean was a revelation. There was numerous things I learned there. Also the opportunity to just rest and chill out and bring up a lot of experiences that weren't working for me or didn't do me any good, and to let them go. That I've been hanging on to the past a great deal, and with understanding the ideas that Bobby expresses in her book, to make a choice, to choose to enjoy my life, to enjoy my experiences, and make choices now that totally revolution the way I see life, the way I live it, the way I experience it. It's just been a marvelous, life-changing thing for me. And if I let myself, I could get rather emotional of looking back and seeing the situation that I found myself in when I discovered Bobby's book and started to read it, and learning that I'm responsible for my life the way it was, and I'm responsible for the way my life is right now, and I take on that responsibility joyfully because it makes a wonderful difference in my experience of life and how I see it. Hello, my name's Sid Williams. I suppose I could go on for a long time on the changes, on what's happened to me, how people see me. After I started reading the book, I started to change. My life started to look better. When I went back to visit people who hadn't seen me in 6 months, they would sort of look at me startled, in a startled way. I was sort of taken back. Wow, what's the matter with me? What's going on? And they'd say, Sid, you've changed. And then the first few times it happened, I says, oh, gee, okay, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I've made some changes in my life. But it happened over and over and over again, and I got to the point after the 5th or 6th time someone says, oh, Sid, you've looked at me strange and changed. And so I said to them, well, how have I changed? And literally they would walk around me and look at me like this and go up and down and around, and and I'm just standing there, okay, this is cool. And I says, you look younger. And I thought, well, cool, that's one of my choices, to be a younger looking individual, a more vibrant, fresh person. And it kept on happening. And at my last count, it's at least been 45 to 50 people who have actually come up to me and said, gee, I've changed. And I say, well, how? Because now I know what question to ask. And then they'll really sort of look around and says, you look younger. And I thought, cool, my body is catching up to my thought. That I'm looking fresher, more excited about life, more in to the point of enjoying it and living in the moment. And it's all because of the principles that I found in Bobby's book and work at applying them, doing that program of the energizers and meditating twice a day faithfully, and on cue. And when I do that, life's exciting, life's fun, and I've let so much of the past go. I was always a person who stayed either in the future or in the past, and I wasn't one who enjoyed what was going on at the present, because I was so worried about what I had done in the past wrong, or fearful of what I might do in the present that may not work. And so these principles that she teaches are just really cool, life-changing, and you ought to do it. You ought to get her book and be ready. If you follow the principles in it, do the exercises, and then meditate twice a day, you will find that your life is changing. You're going to let go of the past. You're going to bring up junk that doesn't work for you, beliefs or whatever, and just let them go, and you're going to change it. It is the most amazing experience that I've ever had. Her book has been the best book I ever found in all of the self-help books that I've read over the years, or tapes I've listened to, or stuff like that. Those ideas that she expresses in her book are life-changing. I'm a perfect example of that. It has changed my life. It has made me look differently to different concepts. I don't get excited about things. I'm not rattled nearly as easily as I was before. When I have an experience and it's something that's doesn't seem to be too pleasant, or it's not what I planned, that's okay. I can sit back and say, oh, what's my lesson in this, and how much better is this going to turn out than how I had planned? That's been a major factor in making these choices, in choosing the life that you want, but not hanging on to it, releasing it, and realizing that what I have written out and what I've chosen to bring into my life, and if it isn't working, it's usually something better comes along, which is far greater than I ever thought for. Hello, my name's Sid Williams. I could talk to you for hours about the benefits that the Unlimited Futures book and courses have done for me. I'm doing things now I never thought down deep possible years ago until I read her book and began to realize that these choices that I have written down, make sure they're what you want, because they're what you will probably get. As I was participating in this class, I remember sitting over in another corner of the room and thinking that I wanted to study with Bobby and Dean and study with them a great deal, and I have gotten to do that. Not any way, shape, or form as how I had envisioned it or thought about how it would happen, but just the concept of just making that choice that I would like to study with Bobby and Dean a great deal, a little more intense, in depth, and I'm doing that, and I just sort of think, wow, this is cool. So I highly recommend that you would get the Unlimited Futures book. Read and study it, for it will definitely change your life if you follow the principles and follow her guidelines.